Awesome. So we'll get started. My name is Stephen Kellogg. I am the Senior Enrollment Counselor for the Graduate and Professional Studies Division, and we will be giving a presentation on earning your degree during a pandemic. We have a couple presenter, including myself, and we'll just let next go will be Rick Eftink.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rick Eftink. I'm the Director of Admissions for Graduate and Professional Studies here at Grandview. I think we're having some technical difficulties with Alex, so why don't we hop down to Nicole next, and Nicole, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Nicole Red, and as the slide says, I'm a current Grandview student. I'm a senior, and graduation for me is May, and I plan on enrolling in the graduate program as well. So welcome, everyone.
That's awesome to hear. And then Tammy, I see you're currently the only one on. Do you have any questions for us right away, or like to take a minute to introduce yourself?
Absolutely, no questions at this time. I am currently working as an insurance agent for an agency here local to the Des Moines area. The thought of going back to school crossed my mind actually as I was actually driving past Grandview. It's a beautiful campus, it's local to me, and thought I'll just see what's out there and start my due diligence.
Well, we're excited and glad you did. We're excited to have you on here with us. We take a lot of pride in our campus, and we think a lot of it as well. So we're glad that you share our feelings. I'm going to go ahead and start on some of these while we wait for Alec maybe to join us again, Stephen.
Yeah, I'll watch it up for him.
The first thing we wanted to kind of go over is the benefits of a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of benefits that people often kind of overlook. A lot of times people come speak with Stephen and I because they want a specific job, or they want, they just know they need to have a change of something, and this opens up a lot of doors. Often bachelor's degrees increase access to different job opportunities, not only within your own organization, but different organizations, and also just different career fields altogether, which is kind of what you mentioned. The networking opportunities that come with a university like Grandview really grow and expand your reach. We have alumni offices, we have career placement offices. You're not just yourself trying to find a job, you have a whole community kind of helping you and that's invested in your success. It also gives you preparation if you know exactly what you do want for a specialized career. But one that I think is often kind of overlooked is the intangible skills that you gain from a bachelor's degree. Obviously, you're going to come here and you're going to study a specific area and gain those skills, but a lot of it is kind of the intangibles, or what I call translating kind of a higher quality of life. You may learn how to handle your money better, or invest or plan. Things like time management, conflict management, skills that translate after college, but that really increase your quality of life overall, because it just makes life a little bit easier and makes you a little bit better prepared for whatever comes your way. Stephen, did you have any other ones you wanted to add on? Or
yeah, though I would say the next thing too, and we can't not say this, but it definitely helps increase your income as well. You get a greater chance of being able to expand your opportunities in the market. So that is something to think about too when you're thinking about obtaining a bachelor's degree, is all these other opportunities that definitely enhances your overall, like Rick said, your quality of life. I think Alec was able to rejoin. Looks like he's still working on his video, but Alec, did you want to take time to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I apologize. I don't know what happened. Have never had this happen to me, so I apologize. Yeah, I'm Dr. Alex Zama, and I'm a professor of business administration, and I'm also the director of the Viking Leadership Credential at Grandview. I teach mostly management courses and also leadership courses in our Masters of Science in Organizational Leadership.
Perfect. All right, we're going to go on to the next slide. We have various programs and modality offerings. So here's just a short list of all the programs we offer, but some of our top programs that I would have to say are accounting, business administration, and the nice thing about our business admin program, it is broken down into different concentrations. So you can look at getting a concentration in finance, human resource management, marketing. One of our other popular, I would say, all online programs is our org studies, because it is a degree that focuses on the hard and soft skills of the programs out there and kind of building up, just areas that focuses, like I said, on those hard and soft skills. So there's some psychology in those courses. There's some sociology. We also have programs in psychology, criminal justice, human services, and liberal arts. Those are just a variety of programs that we offer. Specifically in our evening and online program, as you can tell, they're also available in a full-time day format. We do offer roughly 40 programs total, and those include other programs in spaces of like media communications, kinesiology, drawing a blank on some other ones, but those programs you would see more in the day capacity for that. Tammy, is there a specific program that you're seeing or interested in? And maybe we could talk a little bit about those too.
I am looking at communications, and so still trying to decide if another undergrad or graduate degree is what I'm looking for. And because I am working full time, I definitely need that online and or evening option.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely something we can look at and talk about the programs that we have to offer, especially in our evening and online format. One of the good things to think about is making sure that the modality works best for you. So if you are working full time, you have to make sure that the program that you're seeking out is going to fit your capacity of work and life balance. So just something to include. So one of the big things that we're talking about specifically, is earning a degree during a pandemic. So Grandview offers what is called the High Flex model. So we will watch this short video on High Flex, and then I think Dr. Zama will be able to talk greatly in depth on how the High Flex has been able to work for him as an instructor, and then maybe Nicole afterwards too can chime in. So it's about a 2-minute video. And we will watch it here.
And Stephen,
yes.
One thing I wanted to point out, just so Tammy's aware, a lot of universities are switching or in kind of movement of how they deliver the courses, and they're trying to find the ones that we showed you in the previous ones are how we handle them all the time. Those options aren't going to go away, after hopefully the pandemic ends, hopefully soon. But those are how we plan to offer them, not only now, but in the future as well, which is an important thing to keep in mind for someone like yourself who's working in the evening. You don't want the schools to just go back to just traditional day if the program you decided on is an evening or online program. So sorry, Stephen, go ahead.
Oh, no problem. And let's make sure you guys can hear my sound. Just give me a good thumbs up if you can. Okay. So that's our high flex model. And there was kind of a quick, overview. So just quickly, high flex allows students to participate in courses in three different options. So the traditional method of face-to-face, so actually coming to class and interacting with the instructor in that capacity. The second is a synchronized virtual option. So you tap in, very similar to what we are doing now via Zoom, and you participate in the lecture that way. And then the other option is kind of like that traditional online method where it's fully asynchronous. And just these would be for the courses that follow that more traditional face-to-face format. So even our evening courses would have a high flex option. Other than like a traditional online method, there wouldn't be any required, our fully online course wouldn't have any required synchronized option. So I don't know if Dr. Zama had any additional thoughts on explaining high flex model, or even just how students have handled it this past semester. Oh, you are on mute.
Sorry, apologize. I will talk a little bit later about my experience this fall utilizing the high flex model, but maybe if Nicole could go first, and then I will kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hit my camera too quick. I will honestly tell you the high flex model is truly amazing. I prefer most of my classes to be in person. I need to be able to look at the teacher to ask my questions accordingly. However, this high flex is awesome. Most of the time I do show up in class, but there's a couple times that I had some other issues that prevented me from being in class on time. So being able to log in and doing it simultaneously as the class is very beneficial to you. The asynchronization, not as well, because you don't have the opportunity to ask the questions. The class I'm in now, my business capstone, I did in person for the most part. There's a lot of group projects. If there's a lot of group projects, it's honestly easier to be in class. You establish those relationships a lot better. And for the teacher, that one-on-one, you can't miss out on that. You're able to establish a relationship. They get to know you in a lot better way. Again, I'm gonna use my business capstone. I had Professor Narowski, and I have had him 2 other times. Awesome man. So meeting with him face-to-face was awesome. He had a young woman who he had earlier, and because she was online and that previous relationship was established, it worked well for her and him. But we had other students who were only online, and they didn't get to make that connection that they really wanted. Sometimes you feel it's a barrier. So if you can appear in person, highly recommended. But just know that flexibility is there. If you can't attend in class, you can go online. The sound works out very well. The teachers are doing an awesome job of being mindful of looking at the camera to make sure that they include you and for participation. So you can't go wrong with any method you choose.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And I know Nicole's going to speak a little bit later as well. So we'll just kind of keep going throughout the slides, so that way we stay on track, as well as making sure that we don't duplicate any additional thoughts. So by thinking about returning to school, so there's some key supplies that you're going to need to be successful. And a lot of that is going to be a computer access, even especially during the time of a pandemic. We have resources where you need to be online or having access to a computer, but even after that pandemic, just having a computer access, if you plan on attending online, with speaker and audio, there's a lot of times where you're going to be needing to record yourself for video presentations or audio to PowerPoint presentations. So that is very key to have. The next thing would be accessible internet connection. It doesn't need to be the fastest internet connection, but it does need to be pretty reliable. So you're able to tap into those synchronized components of courses and information that you need, or those other opportunities to participate courses entirely online. And then a lot of students don't know this, or prospective students, but really dedicating a quiet place, either at home or using your office space, or even after a pandemic, utilizing coffee shops and libraries. Truly to be successful in class or in school, you have to have that space where you can actually focus and zone in on being able to do your work and accomplish it in an amount of time. Sometimes we think that the kitchen table might be the best place, but it gets really distracting if you have kids running around or if you have papers everywhere that gets misplaced. So truly finding a space that you could dedicate to your work and have that, quiet space or quiet time is key to that success.
And to kind of add on to what Stephen said, we've been kind of noticing this is a bigger issue during the pandemic because so many people, they do need to have their children at home, or maybe their spouse or significant other is working from home. And so the area and the ability to find these kind of dedicated spaces it's just harder right now during this time because, we're all spending more time at home because there's less places we can go, less things we can do. And it can be difficult to, have to pack up your homework and your book you're reading in your computer and move it to a different room if somebody's ready for dinner or something. So try to plan ahead as best you can and work with whoever, you're sharing your home with, and just kind of plan ahead because it really is important and adds quite a bit. Stephen did a great job of covering why.
Yeah, as you could tell, you could see my wife's office space right behind me today. She actually knew I had a presentation and had to go work from our couch right now, and was like, okay. So it's definitely having that dedicated space, even if you have to have that shared space. So next we'll have a student perspective. So Nicole is going to speak a little bit again about her time here at Grandview and overall just her experience as a student during a pandemic. So.
Okay, thank you. I will tell you, it's been absolutely amazing. I started with Stephen, and the fact that he was so open and honest and helpful was amazing. Some things I would like to highlight is most of the teachers and the instructors have gone through one of the programs. So they truly understand what it takes to be successful in this. It's not Stephen just saying, hey, it should take 8 hours. No, he's been there. And that's very, very helpful. Literally, several of my instructors had gone through the program a year or 2, 3 earlier, and they are able to give you a good perspective that having that dedicated space is key. Asking those questions is key. Networking is huge. So you talked about working for an insurance company. I work for Principal Financial Group. As you take these classes, your instructor will ask you, where do you work at? The purpose of that is, yes, to get to know you, but it also builds networking because you might be in class with somebody who works in a different area and you're able to collaborate. You're also able to potentially scout out a new business. So being at Grandview, being in class, multiple benefits across the board. Again, talking about those instructors, these are 8-week courses. So yes, they're highly intense, but the instructors understand that. So they schedule the work around your work-life balance. They understand that work for you may not just be 40 hours, it may be 60. And that is where you establish that relationship and say, hey, can I get a little bit more time here? Or what are some ways that I can work around this? They're there for you. They have their degree. They want to make sure that you get yours as well. Also, a lot of benefits is this stuff is real life applicable. So you might have been in strategy meetings and not understood the bigger picture, but as you take your courses, it really unfolds. It becomes very real for you. The input that you're able to provide is invaluable. It really is. Those life experiences take you very far. Somebody might have been Stephen. Somebody mentioned the soft skills that you get behind these courses, immeasurable. So right now I'm an admin. And because of me being in these classes, I have been able to branch out instead of just doing administrative work because I have more insight now. And my leaders are witnessing this and they're like, Nicole, can you take the lead on this? Or Nicole, can you provide your perspective? So it's not just once you have a degree, do you start seeing the impact of the benefits? You will start seeing the impact of the benefits of taking these classes immediately as you share your knowledge. Let's see. I try to put a couple things on here, listening to other people. They talked about the program. So I'm in the business administration program, and I took a concentration in human resources, but I'm also slightly ambitious, and I understand being in the real world that human resources usually gets cut first because they don't bring in any finances. So I also did a concentration in management. So that way, if something goes wrong in HR, I have this great management concentration that will help me transition to an operational side of the business. And then the organization leadership program was also talked about. I'm going to follow up and take that as well. I am 45, no shame in telling my age. And since I've gotten a late start, I want as much knowledge and education behind me to make me as successful as possible. So when you take your communication course, if that's the route you want to go, really be deliberate about what courses are going to put you in the trajectory that you want to go. You have a job now, but you're looking for a career. So when you take your courses, look at that career in mind. What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself at? Some comments.
Thanks, Nicole. Tammy, did you have any questions directly for Nicole? Because she currently, like I said, as a student and a working adult too, it might be helpful to have some direct engagement with that.
No questions at this time. Just enjoy listening to everybody, and I'm learning a lot.
Awesome. All right. Next, we have Dr. Zama is going to present a little bit about his experience too, and being a professor and classwork and everything else it takes from to be a faculty member and insight. So.
Okay, thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Nicole. Great insights. You took half of my comments already, so you helped my presentation. And welcome, Tammy, to this session. I hope this information will be useful. And after this meeting, if you have any questions for me directly, please reach out to Stephen, and I will provide you my contact information. But I would like to just share some insights from my interactions with professionals in different organizations, and then from my research, personal research that comes from both from researchers, from academics, and also from some of the practitioners that have been publishing since we switched to conducting more of our activities virtually. So I remember about 20 years ago, I think I learned this saying that every challenge creates new opportunities. And I think COVID-19 completely changed our lives. And I think the way we're going to live our lives in foreseeable futures will be different. We're not going to probably live the way we lived until March 15, 2020. So in order for us to do that, we have to adapt. And we have to take advantage of all of these opportunities. I teach business, so I've been following the stock market. So yesterday, this new company that went public, DoorDash. And DoorDash was growing slowly, but I think what happened during the past 6 months, their growth has completely accelerated and went public with $102, and I think it closed yesterday $180 some. So that's what Grandview is trying to do. We are trying to find new opportunities within these challenges that we are experiencing. We've been adapting both at the individual level, for me as a professor here, and for all of our professors at Grandview, and then the institution as a whole. We're trying to adapt and really understand what can we do in order to help our prospective students to gain the skills that the employers are looking for. So when I talk to employers and the community, they are telling us that in the future, the workplace is changing, and then they're going to look for several skills that maybe they were not as essential about prior to March of 2020. First of all, they're looking for somebody who is a self-starter, who have high degree of self-motivation. They're willing to take initiative. They're looking for somebody who's going to take responsibility and assume accountability, because most of our work now is done from home. We don't have somebody in the next cubicle who's going to be next to us. We have to develop those skills of accountability and responsibility. Along with that, we have to have good management skills. And then in addition to that, we have to be adaptable, we have to be innovative. And as Nicole mentioned a little bit earlier, we have to be good team players. And in order to accomplish our work, communication skills are critical. So in addition to being able to communicate effectively orally, you have to be able to communicate effectively using different modalities, whether texts, whether emails, whether chats, whether virtual speaking, making presentation, and then a good problem solving skills and good technology skills. So during all of our classes, as Stephen mentioned and Nicole mentioned a few aspects of her experiences of using HighFlex, during these experiences at Grandview through the HighFlex program, you're going to learn all of those skills. Not only you're going to learn the different technical skills, we call those hard skills in your degree, but you will be able to learn also the skills that can be transferable, whether you are in an institution of higher education, you are an employee here, where you work like Nicole in a financial institution, or a bank, or even a manufacturing company. So how are we doing that? So already Stephen mentioned about the HighFlex model. Students will have an opportunity to take courses either in person, synchronously online, or asynchronously online. We have been trained for the entire summer. We've worked and gaining new skills and designing courses that will basically provide, where the foundation will be those 4 pillars that were mentioned in the video. And we're utilizing various technologies for our learning management system. We're using Blackboard for a majority of our course activities, but then for synchronous activities, we're using Zoom. And then in addition to that, I've been using Pronopto to record some of my lectures. And also some of my colleagues have used VoiceThread to participate in all kinds of, or to allow students opportunities to participate in all kinds of discussion. So what are some of the skills that will be essential for you to have in order to succeed in the HighFlex model? I mentioned earlier time management skills. It's critical, especially if you're going to take courses completely online, asynchronously, because you're going to be on your own. You don't have to come to class at 9:30 in the morning or in the evening if you are going to take a blended course, for example. It will be on you. So you have to have very good time management skills. I encourage you to have something that you will be tracking all of the requirements for your courses. Develop some strategy, whether it's a Google Calendar or Outlook, but have somewhere that you're going to track your requirements. Number 2, you have to really stay motivated. If you don't come to class, sometimes we can, I'm going to do it tomorrow. There's nobody else is there next to you in class to say, hey, let's do this, or the instructor. It's on your own. So self-motivation is very important. Number 2, you have to be very proactive. I would like to encourage all of my students to stay current with the requirements on Blackboard. So encourage students to first thing on Monday morning, go and review all of the requirements. We have announcements on Blackboard, but then we have modules where we list all of the requirements. So be proactive and stay on top on all of the requirements posted on Blackboard. Another way we communicate is through email. So encourage to stay current on verifying email messages. So you can verify them anywhere in the world where you have a smartphone with you. Keep yourself and others accountable. Again, keeping track of your requirements will help you complete the requirements on time. And then not only you, but Nicole mentioned that we organize some of our coursework in groups. And then I encourage you to keep others accountable. Let me give you an example. This fall, I had a student who, she was, I think, older than our traditional students, but took a 9:30 class with me, and they were working a group project. So at the beginning of the course, I asked them to sign a charter, a group charter that will guide their working group. And then all of a sudden, one student was not participating. She took the initiative, tried to reach out to that student. He didn't reply. And then they submitted the project without his name on the project. And all of a sudden he comes out and said, hey, my name is not in the project. And she was very honest and open and say, hey, I reached out to you. This is the email messages. This is the text messages I reached out to you. And you did not respond. And you agreed that if you're not contributing in your charter, you signed it, that you're not going to receive any points. So keeping yourself and others accountable, it's very important, because in the workplace, obviously, if you are full-time employees, you know that there is a lot of accountability, especially when working in groups. I also encourage you to, if you work in groups, to use virtual technology. Do not try to use only email, only text, only phones. I think there is something when we see each other, we see the body language. I think it's helpful. So try to use either Skype or Google, whatever technology, or Zoom. And take advantage also of resources that Grandview is offering. We have a writing center, we have touring services, and there's a library here. I strongly encourage you to take advantage of those resources, because they are here and they are free for you. Take advantage of our office hours. I have my Zoom link for my students to reach out to me during my office hours. So take advantage of those times. And I totally agree with Nicole that one-on-one communication, it's very, very important. Let me give you an example. I had on average between 2 and 6 students coming to class every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I developed relationship with some of my students, and I nominated 2 of those students to scholarships that were awarded to our students. And why did I do that? Because I got to know them. We could talk before class, after class, during class. I didn't know most of my students until the end of the semester, until they made final presentations in class and they turn on the cameras. I strongly encourage you to turn on the camera during class. We want to see each other, then participate, ask questions of your professors. And I think, at least for me as an extrovert, I like to see body language. I derive energy from others, even though they're not next to me, even virtually I can do that. And the last one, I strongly encourage you to communicate. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Communicate to your professors, communicate with your team members or group members. So those are some of my insights that I would like you to think about. So again, as you're going through these courses, you're going to develop, not only learn those aspects, there is communication that you mentioned, maybe Tammy, you're interested, where if you're studying marketing or accounting, but you're going to learn all of these skills in terms of accountability, a good time management, being a good team member. And I think those are transferable skills that you could utilize them, whether you work at Grandview, where you can work for principal within another organization. Okay. Any questions for me?
No, I thought you did a great job though, Alec. Thank you for kind of presenting. You know, it is reassuring to hear the interactions that not only, you know, Steve and I have, but the way that you interact with businesses, with business people, you know, and it's very reassuring. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. I think Nicole had some additional thoughts she wanted to add before we move on. So Nicole, feel free to jump in.
Yes, Professor Zama, and I apologize if I said your name wrong. Let me tell you, you made a very great point. So for me, Tammy, you mentioned that online and evening classes would be perfect for you, and I agree, the same for me. However, pre-COVID, I was supposed to be in Israel during this time, and I didn't want to fall behind and not take a class. And so I went to my advisor and I said, what can I do? We figured out a way that I was able to take a full 16-week course online. even though most students would take it during the day, there was an online option. So I took a 16-week course, and then I was also able to do a shorter 8-week course to help me so I didn't fall behind. So I just want to point out the flexibility is really there. As working adults, we plan for the whole year if we can. If you know that there's things you can do, I don't want you to feel like, oh, maybe this is not the right time to attend school because I have so much on my plate. Talk to your advisors, and there's always something that can be done. That's all.
Thank you, Nicole. All right, well, there's only a couple more slides that we're going to talk about. The next thing is, I know Dr. Zama mentioned this briefly, but we have campus resources. So one of the big ones is our tutoring center. It's called the Academic Learning and Teaching Center. So in that space, we have the writing lab, where individuals could actually help you review your writing and making sure that the sentence structure is okay, or your outline looks like it's a good start, or maybe you just have writer's block, and they can give you different tips and tricks on how to get started. We also have, and another perk is they have a Dropbox where you can drop your paper out virtually, and they will review it and edit it while they have time, and then get back to you, which is a really key resource if you're not the strongest writer, or at least just want additional thoughts. We also, within that tutoring center, has peer tutoring for specific programs, so our courses. So if you need help in intro to business or psychology or math, that peer tutoring is available as well. We also have the math center, or the math tutoring center within the the alt center. My other institution called it the Academic Achievement Center. So sometimes I have to change my thoughts before I talk. A big perk or resource we have is tutor.com. This is embedded in all of our online courses. So if you're taking a fully online class, there's a resource that has a tutor service available to you. Stats is a really good example for this. If you struggle with statistics or taking that course, that resource is available to all our students free of charge. The library is another great resource. I like to tell students or prospective students, the library is more than just books. Librarians have evolved over time to be research experts and literature experts. So they are focused specifically on making sure your resources or research that you're looking for either a final paper or a project, is an accurate source. It's a credible source. They can also help you with APA formatting or MLA formatting if you're in an English class. They can help you gathering research. So you could be looking for primary and secondary sources. So that's key. We also have student counseling available in our student services. So we have 2 on-staff counselors who have also been providing telehealth to our students during this time. So that's a key resource. Career services, we have a great team over in our student services as well, who's focused on career prep and preparing for, resume writing, in addition to mock interviews or searching for jobs or looking for internships. And then finally, we also have disability support. So this disability support helps students who need reasonable accommodations in class. So if you need accommodations on, note-taking, or maybe you need extra testing time, you go work with our disability director to get those additional resources or accommodations within your classes. So we do have to talk a little bit about the not so fun stuff or the other items. So the next thing is tuition and fees. Grandview is very affordable. In our evening and online format, we charge $418 per credit. With most classes being about 3 credits, you're looking roughly at $1,200, which is really reasonable per course or per cost of course. And then there's just some additional fees that we have. So if you're taking a fully online course, we also have a $30 per credit, and then a parking fee if you're commuting. Other than that, all your other fees is woven into that tuition. So Grandview is a very affordable option in our evening and online format. I know, Tammy, I believe we have talked before, so I know you're looking at maybe taking some day classes, so we can talk about the tuition there as well. But you had also mentioned maybe a graduate program, and our org leadership program is a per credit program as well, which might be a good fit for you too if we wanted to reconnect again. So that's just our tuition and fees. And the next is... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say on that also, Steve, I don't know if this will apply to you specifically, Tim. If you choose to go strictly online, we can't get the parking fee removed also, which is, just And it's not an enormous fee, but if you can save $84, we try to do that. Make sure we don't want to charge you for something you're not going to use and that it doesn't fit. We try to be very upfront and honest about our fees, and Stephen does a great job with that. So.
Okay. And lastly, it's how to apply. So we have a very simple application process. So we have an application online that can be completed free of charge. And what we require is just very basic demographic information and then what program you are interested in. And then we need official transcripts from every institution that you have attended. We look roughly for a 2.0 GPA for all of our transfer students. And then lastly, once you've been admitted, you meet with our academic advisor who will help you create a schedule for what type of courses that you need and a schedule and a format that works best for you. So overall, the process is pretty quick. We can normally get students admitted within a week after they have applied, normally and turn in all their official transcripts. So we do kind of expedite the process. And there's still plenty of time to enroll for spring semester if that's something you're interested in. So any final thoughts from anybody?
The only one that I have, Stephen, is that having now worked in education for longer than what I want to admit, that the nice thing about the education is most of the things we acquire in our life decrease in value as they get older. Cars, clothes, all these things, almost all of them go down in value as they get older. The thing with education is that it actually increases as you get older because it qualifies you for more jobs. It improves your quality of life. It's one of the few things that actually become more valuable the older you get. There's a lot of jobs now that, if you don't have at least a bachelor's or perhaps a master's, that they just won't even consider you for. And it's something that's intangible that nobody can take away from you and that will increase in value as you get older. And that's something I think is important that a lot of people don't realize at first.
Perfect. Thank you, Rick. Are there any questions for us?
All right. Well, no questions then. Stephen, thank you for getting this together. It's a great job. And Tammy, we really hope to see you soon. Alec and Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. We were so happy to have you, and you added quite a lot to the conversation, so we're very appreciative.
Yes. Yes, thank you for your time, everybody. We really appreciate you guys joining us for this 45 minutes topic on kind of earning your degree during a pandemic. If you have any questions, Tammy, or if you would like to learn more about our programs, feel free to reach out to me. My contact or my email is there. I can also provide you with my phone number as well, if that's helpful to you. And we truly just thank you for taking time out of your day and listening to us talk about how excellent and amazing our institution is. And we're speaking truly about that, not just because we're employed there or students there, but because we truly value our institution as a whole and the changes that we help students and prosper and grow. So thank you.